Okay, hello. So this week it's our final session, and we're going to be looking at the hopscotch model and also a little bit about identity, which we've done just before we started the recording. We've delved into that a little bit. But so what I'm going to get you to do for this part is I'm going to get you to stand up and move around. So you'll need a pen and paper handy. You don't need it in your hands, but you just need it on your desk ready if you haven't got it already. If you would like to turn your camera off if you're moving around, like maybe you've got your pajamas on the bottom and you don't want to show them off or anything like that, so you might want to turn your camera off. And when you're ready, if you can just stand up, and you want to have like at least a kind of meter of space in front of you. I do not need to be able to see you for this. And so this is the beginning of the hopscotch model. So we're going to do part of it together as a group, and then you're going to breakout rooms to do the rest. Heidi, you don't need that bit of paper with you at the moment.
No, I was just moving it.
Cool. And you know, you use the space that you've got, so don't worry how much of that there might be. Okay, so I want you to think of a goal that you've got that you're hoping to achieve in the next kind of 3 to 6 months. So if you're doing the accreditation on this course, it might be like handing in that assignment. Maybe it is clearing out your bedroom, or whatever it is, something that you want to achieve in the next kind of 3 to 6 months. So not something too immediate and not something massively difficult either, but something that's a bit of a stretch, but you're pretty confident you're going to do it. And think of the specific moment when you will have achieved it. So like running across that marathon finish line, your book launch party, submitting an essay, or receiving a certificate. So all of these could be considered that moment, but what is the moment when you will know that you've achieved your goal? And don't overthink this. Obviously, we're here to just practice something. Right, Sophie is here. So I'm just going to leave you to think about that goal in that specific moment, and then I'll just get Sophie in. Hello, Sophie.
Hi.
Hello. Can I get you like, can we get straight in? Because we're just about to start. So if you're able to, if you can get on your feet and think of a goal that you want to achieve kind of around September time. And it doesn't, you know, don't overthink it. It's just to give an example and practice something for now. So what I want you to do is imagine that you're standing up, and imagine that hopscotch is drawn out in front of you. So, you know, the kids chalk on the ground of 10 steps. You don't need to go zigzagging around or hopping and jumping around. You can just walk it. But so imagine that hopscotch is drawn out in front of you, 1 to 10. And I want you to really slowly walk from 1 to 10, thinking about all the steps that you need to take on the way to achieving that goal. So just moving gently forwards as you imagine all the things that you are going to do. Okay, and once you're at that number 10, I want you to imagine that you have now achieved your goal. I want you to turn around and look back at where you came from. And I want you imagining that you are 3 to 6 months from now and you've achieved the goal. I want you to give yourself advice for now. I've put you all on mute. So I really recommend doing this out loud. What would the version of you in September or October, what would she say to you now about this goal? What advice would she give to you? So say it out loud, and or come back and write it down. And if you can just indicate to me with a thumbs up or in the chat when you're ready. Okay, and I'm gonna bring you back now because you're gonna have more chance to do this in your breakouts as well. I just want to check that. I'm hoping Louise is all right there with the internet. Lovely. Okay, so that's the first step, and the idea of that is to get you into this idea of moving, of kind of time traveling, and the idea of hopscotch. And so in your breakout rooms, you're then going to do the bulk of it. And so what you do is, again, you ask the client to stand on number 1 of hopscotch, and they move from 1 to 10. So just taking a small step each time. Obviously, don't worry about doing the right pattern or anything. Like, if I was doing it in person, we might get some chalk and do it, but that it's about moving forwards. And so we're going from 1 to 10. You've got the questions there. Just stick to the script. And you might want to do a little bit of exploration, but what you don't want to do here is go off on tangents, because this is hopefully summarizing stuff that you've already done with. Obviously, if you've worked with the same person over 6 sessions, this is more of a checklist. That isn't the situation here, but that's what we're imagining. And so you're going through and kind of checking, like, have we thought of everything? And it's what's really, really key to this is having that specific moment. So, like I say, if you are, like, let's say you are doing the accreditation on this course, so you might choose the moment that you're working to on this goal might be when you get that client and you do your first session. It might be when you submit the essay. It might be when you get your certificate. It might be when you get your first paying client. So what is the specific moment that you're imagining? Because that is going to help us all make a lot more sense. And then you go from 1 to 10, talking about, like, I will need to do this. I need to do this. I am going to do this. All in the future. It's where you are right now. Then when you get to 10, you turn around and it's as if you have now achieved that goal. You redo the advice, just like you've just done. And then you come back from 10 to 1, basically asking the same questions, but as the version of you who has completed the goal, as that future self that's already done it, which is why we do this little warm-up bit at the beginning to try and make sense of that. And you can have a bit of fun with, I mean, I might be the only person that thinks this is fun, but you can have a bit of fun with the, like, grammar and, like, no, like, I will have, and I did this. And so it's really getting into that identity of the version of you that has achieved this already and what she believes and what her values are. And so on the way back, it's much, much quicker. So if you've got 25 minutes for your session, you might spend 15 minutes going from 1 to 10 and 10 or even 5 coming from 10 to 1. The going up is the longer part and the coming back should be much quicker. But I really challenge you to try and get back to number 1 within the time that you've got. What else do you need to know? And, like, this is a fun one. So I don't know if any of you might follow my friend Caroline. I did this with her. She was entering a bodybuilding competition. So we did this and I got her in her heels and in a bikini to practice, like, standing up in front of people as she was doing it and getting into that identity. So this is one that you really can have some fun with. And it's really, because it's very structured and you just follow the script, you don't have to think very much. But what you do want to do is make lots of notes so you can use like clean language, and you can remind them of what, when they're coming back down the other side, you can remind them of things that they might have said if they get stuck. So Louise has asked, is this designed to be used at the end of coaching? So not necessarily. So I quite often will do this as a one-off standalone session, and we'll spend a full 90 minutes pretty much just doing this. This is best used when that goal is really, really clear. When someone has got a clear goal, they're pretty set on, like, they know what they're doing. And it's just that, okay, have I thought of everything that I need to? Beyond just like creating the to-do list, but like, have I got the right beliefs here? Like, what are my values in relation to this goal? Like, what steps do I need to take? What help do I need to ask for? So it can be used as a standalone session. It can be used just in your mind, like thinking through 1 to 10, like, oh no, we haven't actually, like, do I know what their values are? Do they know? Have we covered that? So it can be used like just as a checklist in your mind. When I first came across this, this is something I've developed from another tool, but I was like, oh, really resistant because it's so scripted, and I like to just be free and do whatever comes to me in the moment. But I realize that actually I really love it because it's so structured, you've got the freedom to have a bit of fun with it. So literally just ask the questions that are there. Don't overthink it. They won't necessarily feel that natural. But so you can play with that. So have fun with it. I think you'll be quite surprised how much you get in a short time. But what the best way that you can help your partner when you are the client is have that clear moment in your mind. Know when is the moment when I will feel that I've achieved this goal? Is it when I get this, like a marathon? Is it when I cross the finish line? Is it when I post it on social media? Is it when I collect my medal? Is it when I have a pint afterwards? Is it like when I get home if I've stayed overnight? So what is the moment that you consider the goal completed? Is it the like celebration meal with your friends? Any questions? Okay. So I will put you in breakout rooms, and you'll have your full hour. I'll give you like, you should have a couple of extra minutes just to get yourself sort of organized at the start. So we'll come back at 11:30. So use the full 25 minutes and really try to get all the way from 10 up 1 to 10 and back 10 to 1. That's like your extra level of challenge. Like, can you do the whole thing? You do not have to stand up and do this, but you will find it powerful if you do. And it's useful. It's useful practice, trying something a bit different. But if you want to come and sit back down halfway through, as coach, you do not need to be able to see the other person, but you do need to be able to hear them. So yeah, just make sure that's going to work. And right, let's sort you out. Recovery. Okay, so we'll come back at 11:30. Enjoy. So take your full 25 minutes to coach and have fun with the feedback. Have a great time, and I'll see you at 11:30. All right, how was that? I'm going to come to Sophie first because she returned first. How did you get on there?
Good. Well, we're which role?
Either.
So Heidi went first as client, and I was coach. And we did a bit of a longer session because it was just nice to keep that consistency going. Was good. Towards the end, she got quite excited. Like it was a feeling, and I think that's, I'm all about like, well, how does that feel? How does that feel? Can you feel it somewhere in your body? And I think that really kind of, for me, brings it to life. Because then, even though if they're maybe not used to answering those questions or not used to feeling it, I felt like when the excitement came in for her, like it was really sparkly. Like you could see on her face that she was almost like itching to go. So yeah, so even though maybe it's not normal for people to feel that way, feel into it, I think it helps just bringing it all to the surface and bringing it in front of you.
And how did that feel for you as the coach?
It was good. I like people to feel. That was
Yeah, but how did you feel?
Yeah, it's good. I like people to get in touch with themselves, and so it makes me feel rewarded that they've connected with themselves rather than it being like a goal out there. Then you can see it kind of come into them, and what's the word? I guess they embody their goal, don't they, and their journey towards it. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. Because
Okay.
you're going to ask me again.
How did you feel?
Yeah, I'm happy for them that they are more in touch with their
No, I'm going to ask you
values.
again. How did, because you're just telling me about Heidi. How did you feel doing that?
It feels good. It feels normal. It feels aligned. It feels like what I've bloody done for decades. And then gone, oh. So yeah, it's good. It feels good. What else can I say? Like it's what I'm supposed to do. So
So yeah, it feels aligned, might be the
yeah.
coachiest word that we could throw at you there.
Yeah.
So what I would invite you to reflect on
Yeah.
is when it feels really good, when your clients are making progress and you can see that they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
How does it feel when that's not happening, and when you can see that they're stuck and they're not moving forward and they're maybe feeling frustrated? Like, how much are you tuning into how they're feeling? Because you don't want to be coming out of sessions, like you come out of a good session feeling sparkly yourself, but not every session is going to be like that. So I'd invite you to reflect on how you can kind of keep that boundary around your own emotions and not be too impacted on what's going on for them, and not getting too attached to their outcomes, because yeah, that's them. Leave them with their emotions, because yeah, it goes both ways. If you're feeling all that good stuff, you're going to feel the hard stuff too, and that's where coaching can get quite exhausting.
Yeah, I feel quite calm so far in those instances, but I can tell there's a difference between like coming on here and coaching and having friends and family around you. I almost don't have the energy for that because I feel like I'm too involved at the moment. So then you're like, ooh.
But so this is it's a good practice for you to, not be taking on other people's energy and emotions, and like, yeah, protecting your energy and your peace. Yeah, something to reflect on there. Sparkly Heidi, I want to hear from you now.
Yeah. um, in what's like coaching?
How did you find that on either side? Because obviously, so there's a lot of words and questions on the paper to stick to. So how did you find that, either part?
In terms of um, yeah, on both. My camera's not working properly.
Hear you fine.
Oh, sorry. Okay. For me, I got really excited. Um, because I know what I need to do is having that sort of self belief and sort of like self doubt, shedding that. And yeah, it really helped me um to find the next step to what I want to achieve. However, in terms of coaching Sophie, she was like, she knew what she needed to do, and she's on optimum, sort of confidence to do it. It's just more the fact, it was very different. But on my part, I sort of I rated myself a 5, 4 or 5, and then towards the end of it, I hopped up to an 8.
Yes, that is what we like to see.
8 to 9, you said, Heidi.
8 and 9, yeah.
Don't drop now.
That's incredible. And that's it. Sometimes it is that, like that is the kind of thing with this tool, that it's because you are looking at that like, oh, actually, yeah, like of course I can already do that. So it's, bringing it all together, hopefully. That's awesome. I'm so pleased. And anything else you'd like to say, Heidi?
No, that's it.
And Sophie, I'm curious to ask you about how you found the structure of it, because I imagine you might have found that, and like because like myself, I think that you prefer to be a bit more flowy. How did you find having the structure like that?
I didn't have any issues with the structure. But I it felt like every question I dug deeper into, which was why like Heidi's session was a lot longer, and it felt nice to dig deeper. Like some of the questions she was asking me, I was like, yes, or great. And then I was like, maybe I should say something else. And I was like, that's all I feel, that's fine. So yeah, it's well, that's interesting. So now that you've asked me that, and I've said that I can dig deeper into the questions, so the reason that I joined this course was so I had like almost energetically more than paperwork wise, but I had the foundations that I could work from or fall back on from the workshop that I hosted last year, just organically and out of the blue, for people to feel more joy and fulfilled in their lives. And so when you mentioned this course, I thought that sounds handy to have something, the foundations on. So you asking me that question then has made me realize that the hopscotch is probably the main one for me that would be my foundations.
Nice. Excellent. That's good to know.
Then obviously I'll get my certificate.
Yeah.
When I've paid.
And Louise, how did you get on?
Oh, that was amazing. That was really brilliant. I'm really sorry, Edith, that we ran out of time on your one. We had about 2 to go, and I was like, well, firing them at her. It was fab. I've got so much to say, and yet I feel quite stumped for words at the same time. I feel like I wasn't expecting it to be so deep. And when we got to on the way through the last one, the one about your legacy, like the number of people that have asked me questions about what I will say I was focusing on this as an accreditation. I wasn't focusing on my business, which is a bigger, much more unwieldy thing. So it's quite helpful to focus on this, but they kind of all tie in together. And so when she was asking about the legacy thing, I feel like I was talking about this and how it fits into my business with a clarity that I just haven't managed until now, when people have been asking me the questions straight without that preamble. So that was really amazing. And I feel like also, I don't know if you knew this, but like you were just so smiley, and it was just like, I felt so validated the whole way through. It was really lovely. It was just, and just your sort of occasional comments about how my kind of energy was coming across when I said something particularly. It was like, this is really validating to hear, and it made me feel in a safe space. And then, and coming down again. So that's sort of from my perspective of actually being coached. It was awesome. I think when I went through the questions myself, I felt like I wasn't sure about how far I could dig in, because you sort of said it's a sort of set of questions and sort of, answer them specifically. So particularly the ones on, I can't remember quite how it's framed, but things that are holding you back. So, what like beliefs do you need to question, or things like that. It felt like the natural thing to follow on that with a bit more. So rather than just saying, I feel like this about myself, or I feel like this is my belief. It feels like the natural thing to do is sort of go, okay, so dig into it a little bit more and help them kind of explore that a bit more. Whereas it didn't necessarily do that in the framework. So I wasn't sure whether I should do that or could do that.
So, I mean, just the short answer to that is, in a 25-minute session, you probably don't have time to do that.
No. Okay.
But if you were doing an hour or an hour and a half on this, of course, like, you can delve into it, or you make a note, like that's something you want to come back to. In reality, if you're just done 5 sessions and this is what you're doing in the final session or the 5th session, you've already done that delving.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. Yeah.
So it's, it very much depends on the person.
Yeah,
but
okay.
And also, that when you ask someone, what are your values? A lot of, maybe not you guys because you're in this sort of world, but a lot of people will be like, I don't know what a value is. But then they'll just come out with values. They'll just say them. So it is that just kind of trusting in the questions a little bit, I think is really important.
Okay. And then taking notes I found really hard, because I wanted to be really present with Edith, and eye contact is hard when you're kind of walking around the room, but we sort of half managed it. But because I'd really valued that from her, I really wanted to give that back to her as well. And partly because I'm only using one screen today, I wasn't able to position myself where I could really look at the camera properly. So I was conscious that I was probably looking like I was looking at my hand and not emoting. Not that you need to emote necessarily, but I don't know, it felt less natural. But I'm really glad Edith took notes, because she said she's going to share them with me, because there are things I said that I would like to have written down myself. So I guess the question there is, like you said, this is not necessarily, this is not natural because we're not doing it as part of a big, longer process. So maybe, would you let them have time to write things down? I don't know, how might that work differently in a real life environment?
I think so. I really pride myself on my notes, because what I see a lot of coaches doing now. So either coaches don't send you any notes at all, or they send you the AI notes, or they tell you everything that happened in the session. And that's not what you need. You need like a short paragraph, like, remember what we talked about? Like, you might want to remember these things, and then these are the goals that you set. So I really pride myself on my note taking, because I think that there's a tendency, it can be a bit of a security blanket, where you start writing everything they say down and then you're not being present with them. But you want to make enough notes that you're getting the key points, and so you can use the clean language, so you can use their own words back to them. So they're the really important things to write down, and then particularly like the beliefs, because then when they come back and they're on the way down and they're saying their positive beliefs, you want to be able to compare them. And like, do you now sound like you believe that thing that you wanted to believe? Or like, have you shifted that belief? Or do we need to delve into it more? So yeah, I think it's just trial and error. You just find your way. But also, like, the client is doing all of the work. They're coming up with the answers. And you, like, I think in something like this, it's quite nice that you don't have the eye contact. It's much easier to make notes if it's like, you don't need to be able to see me, you just need to be able to hear me. And I think I was really resistant to doing online coaching at first. I was like, I want to do it in person because the body language. But you can make loads of notes when you're online, and if they can't see them, you can check the time and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's just something to keep playing with. And some clients really want the notes. Some clients don't want them at all. I've had one client in particular who, I mean, this was so frustrating, but also so brilliant. So I'd ask a question and they'd go, I know exactly what I need to do, and write it all down and never tell me. And I was like, I don't need to know, but like, I want to know. So some people make their own notes. So it's about that conversation at the start to understand what do you actually want from me? Because there's no point you spending loads of time making notes that they aren't going to read. My advice generally, like if you're doing them on like a Word document, keep it to one side of A4. And I know I've got clients still that I worked with like 3 years ago, and they tell me they still read those notes. But I think people are more likely to read them in the body of an email. We're all lazy, right? Like just clicking on an attack. If you get that email on your phone when you're out and about, it's really easy to ignore it. If it's in the body of the email, you're like, oh yeah, like you actually read it. So play with it.
What would your tips be on if you are doing one-to-one? So you said that you used to do coaching walking along the path in Tinmouth. Like how do you do your note taking if you're doing that?
I would make them on my phone if I need to, and I would say that at the start. Like if I pull out my phone halfway through the session, it's because I want to make a note. I'm not being rude. Like it's not that I'm just texting my mates. And like particularly there, it's really nice because the trains come past and they force that silence. But generally, as you become more confident, you will naturally make less notes. For sure. And it's about making the quality notes that you really need. And some people will have little turns of phrase, and if you can use them, match them, it's really powerful. It's writing those things down. But like I remember going to this restaurant in London once, and it was a really hot day, and the waiter was this like elaborate flamboyant gay man with a fan in his hand, like going like this constantly. He didn't write a single thing down, and it was so impressive. And like, I still remember that was like 10 years ago. And so it's it's only like a waiter remembering your order, and even when you made all those weird changes and things. So like you will come to, the more present you are in the session, the less notes you need to make.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Edith, how did you get on?
So with the note thing, also I do talk a lot, and when it comes out, it like bleh, it bursts out. So I can absolutely understand why you would have struggled taking notes, because I do just can't think of anything and then it's bleh. So yeah, that was probably a tricky one to do notes on.
So can I ask you, Edith, when you are doing a splurge like that, do you want and need that to be fed back to you?
No, because
are those notes useful?
Because of the questions that were asked and how they were asked and the prompts and things like that, it comes out with such emotion. And because that emotion is there, I remember that. But if I should have probably said at the beginning, you don't need to worry about taking notes, but I hadn't even thought about it. But yeah, I think probably people that do spurge it like that quite often don't want it all back to them.
It's just, you're just getting it out. And what's more useful is the feedback of like, I noticed when you said this, like your body language, like you really smiled, or you closed up a bit. So these are the more, and sometimes those are notes. So it's those sorts of notes. You don't want to be noting down every single thing that they said, but like noticing if there's themes coming up, like they keep repeating this one phrase, or it's those sorts of, if you notice their body language changes when they say a certain thing, but you don't want to interrupt it in the moment. But yeah, this is just something that comes with practice.
And with the beliefs one, so I could see that you were kind of umming and ahhing whether to carry on asking or go deeper. And I think, like they were saying, if it was a longer session, that would have been cool. We could have gone deeper. But what you did by just prodding a little bit made me kind of go, right, so I know that I need to do that, and I have got those things in place to do it. So you already kind of checked. And I feel like if I sort of said, oh, I don't really know, I've never really thought, I think you would have probably gone deeper. And so I think you did that. I mean, you did the whole thing perfectly, but that bit for me especially, because it meant we could move on without me starting to cry. And it kind of went to a much nicer place, but it still reminded me that really needs dealing with. And I really enjoyed it, because when I first started as the coach, and I looked at the questions and I thought, how am I going to make that last all the way till then? And then it just happened. And I was really pleasantly surprised by it, because I was like, wow, and I love it. I think that's my favorite favorite one, because it really does encompass pretty much everything you need to ask. And then, like you said, if there are other things and you've got time to ask it, if not, it can be written down and you can have, if you're having other sessions, can be asked then. But I 100% feel like I've just had my own coaching session, and I already said to Louise that I would happily pay her as a coach. It was amazing, and I'm so excited to see where you go, because honestly it was so, and that's, I didn't even know I was smiling, but if I was, it was just because it was just wonderful. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I feel like everything's so much clearer now, because I feel like I've been going through the book and I'm like, right, I'm not a coach. That's all I've kept saying to myself. I'm not a coach. I can't be a coach. And then when it clicked that actually, no, I'm not a coach. But what I will be is I'll have my Reiki and the coaching, the tools of coaching. And when that merges, that feels like me. So now I can say, and yes, I haven't got a word for it yet, but that is what I am. And it's
so this is
finally
literally the best thing that you could have said at this point,
the
because I
relief.
wanted to finish by talking about identity. So and I think that's it, right? So first of all, if any of you are hoping to make money using these skills, the best piece of advice that I can give you is don't call yourself a coach. People don't know what a coach is. So call yourself this is an additional skill to your Reiki. So if you can find a word that people understand rather than coach, because coach sounds like sports coach, that's what people think. Or they think it's counselling, they don't really know. And if you have to explain it, you kind of lost them already. So yeah, number one tip, just don't call yourself a coach at all. But it's also the thing of, so identity comes first. So it goes in it. So it's be, do, have. So you have to take the identity on that you want to hold even before it's true. So this is belief stuff. Then you start acting as if it's true, and then you get the things that you want. But the identity comes first. And so this, for example, so to be a coach, so you might think I need to have a certificate to call myself a coach, or I need to have had a paying client. And like we all have this different point, which was obviously a big point of what I was saying there. So we all need this point where it's like the tipping point where like, oh yeah, that's true now. But it's defining a coach. So a coach is someone that motivates and inspires and empowers people. And I'm sure that all of you can say that you know that you've done that at least once for one person. So why aren't you a coach? And like you wouldn't have signed up to this course if you didn't think you had some of those skills already. And I think a really nice example that I would use is running. So I remember I was like running half marathons, and I would still say, oh no, but I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner because I'm not fast enough, or I haven't done a full marathon, or I haven't like hit this PB at the park run. But I was a runner because I went out running and I owned trainers. And the thing is, if you believe I'm a runner, then when it's a rainy day and you plan to go out running, then you still go because you're a runner. But if you're like, well, but I'm not really a runner anyway, so I'm not like, it's fine, I'm not going to go. And you might, we all have our choices. And the same, like if you believe that you're a healthy person, then when you're making a decision in the cafe whether to get the cake or the salad, well, what would a healthy person get? The salad. And I'm a healthy person, so I'm going to get the salad. So you have to kind of take on the identity before it's true. Massively true with me with getting sober. So my past identity was very much around like I'm a drinker and like life and soul of the party and all of that sort of thing. I had to let go of all of that and take on a new sober identity and like decide like who do I want her to be and become her. I'm sure I just had another example in my mind, but it's gone. But yeah, so and what you will find is the more coaching you do, you realize it all comes back to how we see ourselves. So it might be that you see yourself as a single person or a married person or like religious or vegan or whatever it might be. Like these identities that we hold, we have to believe them. So for me, the first night I met my friend Alan, who is a vegan influencer, the first night I met him, my husband sent me a text saying, can you pick up some milk on your way home? And I just texted him back, we don't drink milk anymore. But it is that, it's like you've got to take on that identity. It's not like I'm trying, it's not I'm cutting down, but no, that's not who I am anymore. So identity is what all of this comes back to in the end. So shall we finish with something like what's the identity? What the version of you that has just finished this course, who is she? What's the identity that you're holding right now? Who are you becoming? So if any of you would like to share in the chat, that would be really nice. Like maybe an I am. I am confident, I am a coach, I empower people, something along those lines. I run my own business. I'm a sea swimmer. Oh, I'm a somatic ocean therapist. Yes. Like that, I mean, that's intriguing, right? We all want to know more. That's brilliant. Love that. Yeah. And this is exactly it. Come up with something that makes you want to know more.
Is that not the same as coach though? Are people going to know, like, what is that? Like, why would I go with you? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but it's really, no one's going to think that they know what that is.
Okay.
It invites conversations, doesn't it? And it's also going to repel people that are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not for me. And that's good too. Love it. And yeah, and just thinking back to, you know, because your identity, it's not just your job, it is about I'm an artist, I am creative, I eat healthily. It's all of these behaviors. I'm a yogi. I'm not a yogi. I keep trying to be, but I'm not one.
But if you do yoga, then you are a yogi.
Exactly, yeah, but I can't say that I've done that for a little while.
I don't know who I am. I'm sat here like, I don't know. I know I'm different than what I was, and now I could probably describe what my identity was. But now at the moment I'm like, oh.
So a nice way to do this is to think about if a friend was setting you up on a date, what would you want them to say? What would you want them to tell the other person about you that would big you up in an accurate way, so they weren't going to be like disappointed or surprised when they met you?
Probably wouldn't want them to, because I don't want them to have a preconception.
So mysterious,
because I don't know who I am. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's really like what you find, the more you get into this, the more you realize it's all about the identity work.
Maybe I should go on a little journey of who am I?
Yeah. And ask people, and that the color so you weren't here at the beginning, Sophie, so I asked,
no, sorry.
What's your favorite color and why? And the qualities in that color that you've chosen tell you it's how you see yourself.
Okay, so I can officially say that last year I decided on my favorite color.
Official, nice.
At the age of 41, and that's green. Any other favorites I don't have. I just like variety. Like people say, what's your favorite food? And I'm like, you joking me? What? What? I like food. What do you mean? But I wonder why I have. Yeah, why it's like I don't want to limit myself, which is interesting.
There's a lot of good stuff to get into here, but we are out of time. So thank you so much.
Just
for
gonna
being
heart
part of
Edith's. What are you? What is it? What are we? That I don't know what I am. What have you just asked us?
What's your favorite color?
What's your identity? So I don't even know what my identity is.
Don't even have
so
one.
I just needed to heart Edith's identity.
Oh yeah, so thank you all so much. It's been so great working with you, and yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, Chloe.
Good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
It's been really great.
Awesome. Well, go and get out in that sunshine now.
It's overcast here.
Okay.
Bye bye.